and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Weekend Reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, well, typically 5 releases, but this week it's more like 6 releases from 5 artists, with Bethel Music's Kalley having 2 EPs. So it's gonna look a little different this week, as you might have seen from the cover with the 6 releases. But I'll try to do my best here to do a good job on all the releases. And after having listened to these releases all week, anyways, I come back here and I review them. I share what I think of them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release, Kanye West's gospel debut, Jesus is King. Jesus is King has been called a gospel album, and while it's definitely gospel lyrically, and I'm gonna get into that in a minute, and even though the sound does incorporate gospel influences, I would say, too, though, to say it's a gospel album, though, does diminish the fact that there's other elements here. So I'm going to just talk about those other elements here for a minute. So there is some electronic influences here, too, but overall, there's still a very strong hip-hop influence here, I would say. And by the way, totally loved listening to Kanye's rapping on this album. I remember the first time I was listening to this album, I was like, wow, this guy's really good. Which, of course, Kanye's a pretty big name, so I should have expected that. But yeah, to somebody who hasn't really listened to his music prior to this point, I was pretty impressed. As for the lyrics here, they talk about a few different themes here. He talks about relying on God's strength to help live for him. And also, too, it talks about trusting God as the provider for everything. And now, too, I probably should address this as well. I know there is a lot of debate amongst Christian circles about, oh, is this a legitimate gospel album? All I could say is these are the lyrics of a changed man, I would say. So I definitely think this is legit. I definitely think Kanye's legitimately changed if these lyrics are an indicator of anything. Up next, MercyMe's new single, Almost Home. MercyMe's new single, Almost Home, is kind of a bridge between what the band has done as of late and who the band has been, historically speaking. We do see some pop elements here with the bass. On the other hand, though, some contemporary rock elements also do enter the song with the guitars and drums, so kind of a cross between the two worlds, so to speak. As for the lyrics here, great lyrics here, talks about keeping our eyes as we go through this world on the fact that we're almost home. Keep pressing on, because we're almost home. We're almost to heaven where God is. Up next, Thi'sl-'s new release, STTAG. Thi'sl-'s new release, STTAG, Small Thing to a Giant, is a pretty hard-hitting effort, musically speaking, with the bass. I mean, I think it can hit pretty hard at some points, but the piano allows for some lighter moments, too. Allows it to be a little lighter, but overall, the bass makes this project feel like, man, this thing hits hard. Also, the way he raps, too, I think contributes to that. As for lyrics here, well, before I get into the lyrics here, I probably should provide a little bit of context for this album. So, before this release, about a year ago, when somebody was attempting to rob him, Thi'sl was shot. He ultimately made a recovery, but these lyrics are ultimately penned out of that season. So, and they go through a few different phases. He candidly wrestles with the fact that after all he did to help, in his community, he was shot by the very people he tried to help. He was wrestling with that a little bit. Also, though, too, he was talking about how what he was going through motivated him to run to God and rest in the fact that he's in control and he's got this. Also, we get to see here his motivation to get back into reaching out to people even after what happened. Up next, the solo debut of Buffalo Music's Kalley with not one but two EPs, both having the word Fault Lines in the entitled Fault Lines Volume 1 and Fault Lines Volume 2. Music's Kalley made her solo debut with a double EP set with Fault Lines 1 and Fault Lines 2. There is distinct differences between the two EPs, though both are good. So let's start with the first EP, Fault Lines 1. Fault Lines 1 has a very pop feel to it with the synthesizers and the bass. It also does some electronic effects to her voice. As for the lyrics, the first half of the EP talked about God being faithful to us and with us in every season. The second half of the EP talked about God using the storms in our the earthquakes in our lives to make us his. Now on to the second EP, Fault Lines 2. There's more piano on this EP, which gives it kind of more of a typical worship feel to it, even though the pop elements do remain to a certain extent. As for the lyrics here, I'm not going to break this into first half and second half for this EP. I'm just going to speak for the whole EP here. There are themes of waiting on the Lord, trusting in, surrendering everything to the Lord, and looking to Him as our safety. Up next, our last release for today, 1K Fuse, new release, What's Understood. Fuse new release, What's Understood 2, definitely has its banger tracks, but also, though, too, we hear him do all sorts of things with his voice. We hear him sing, rap, and then we hear him actually rap. Kind of has almost kind of a pop feel to it with when he sings at some points. Pop hip hop feel to it. As for the lyrics here, they talk about fighting to live the life you were meant to live. This week, come back next week for 5 more releases. If there's any releases you want me to feature, please be sure to request that below. Also, I did put out a new playlist this week called Disability in the Gospel, which includes music from artists like Britt Nicole, Mandisa, and Tadashi, just to name a few. That's in the playlist section right now. Also going to leave links to the playlist in the description since it's the first week that is out, and I also made a video midweek talking about the playlist, so be sure to go and check that out. And also be sure to check out Michael S. Bates' book, Disability and Gospel, great book that inspired the playlist. Also, be sure to like my business page on Facebook, and please be sure to subscribe to this channel as well, so you know when new videos like this come out. Now, one more thing that I wanted to address before I get off of here today is this. So some of you may be wondering, when am I going to review Christmas releases? Because all the great Christmas releases are dropping this year. So when am I going to get around to reviewing them? Well, there are a few good releases, and non-Christmas releases, just regular Christian releases coming out over the next few weeks. In fact, there's some good stuff out today that I'm gonna review. So, pretty excited about that. So, the plan is this. I'm going to continue to do the videos in the format I've done them for the next 3 weeks. And then there doesn't seem to be much going on November 22nd, so that means I will start releasing Christmas review videos on Black Friday, November 29th. And we're going to do about 4 Christmas review videos. November 29th, December 6th, December 13th, and December 20th. Also, I want to let you guys know that if you're listening to Christmas music early and you hear something really good that you want me to review for this Christmas season, you can comment that right now. You don't have to wait. You can RSVP a few weeks in advance, and don't worry, I will still remember you requested that. And then, on December 27th, the first Friday after Christmas, I'm gonna do... There are a few releases that come out during Christmas Eve. Not much, but a few. And I'm gonna review 4 of the best Christmas releases, and... 4 of the best releases that came out during the Christmas season. Correcting myself here. And the reason I say that is because Kanye West is gonna come out with Jesus is Born December 25th. So I think I'm going to try to review that too. So you will see 1 Christmas release after Christmas, but the rest will be normal releases. And then January 3rd, I will go right back to my normal format of doing the best 5 releases in Christian music each week. So I hope that lets you know everything that's going on. Well, I'll go now. Bye.